Greetings fellow gorehounds and welcome back to another Blood Splattered vlog. So my 2016 wrap-up continues with Train to Busan, which was a movie that was on my radar, but I wasn't quite sure what it was until I saw a trailer for it last week. And it turns out what this movie is it's a South Korean zombie movie set on a train. And I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are sitting there going like, oh god, another zombie movie? Jesus Christ, didn't we go through like 2 decades of this crap? No, you shut the fuck up, because Train to Busan is one of the best zombie movies I've seen in a long time. This is yet another movie, much like I Saw the Devil or Old Boy, that just kind of proves that the Koreans are way better filmmakers than the rest of us are. Now, I'm sure they've made a whole lot of crap that I haven't seen, but the movies that I have seen that's been imported over here have been amazing, and this movie is no different. Like, holy shit, this movie is just, it has everything. One of the most well-rounded horror movies I've seen in a long time. It's got laughs, it's got scares, it's got crying moments. Like, I was tearing up at multiple points in this movie. It's intense, it's got massive blockbuster-esque like set pieces, enough explosions to make Michael Bay blush, and on top of that, it's well written with a lot of really great characters that you can really sink your teeth into. And I'm sure everyone will have their favorite character, but my personal favorite was the big guy with his pregnant wife, because that dude spoke to me more than any other character in this movie, and there's a lot of really good characters here. Just, man, like, it's hard to talk about all the really good parts of this movie without completely spoiling it. So Train to Busan is absolutely ending up on my top 10 list of the year. It is a magnificent 10 out of 10 movie. Fan-fucking-tastic. And if you see any movie I see in this 2016 wrap-up, make sure Train to Busan is that movie. Anyway, my fellow gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers. Okay, so this is a movie about a South Korean zombie breakout, and basically some sort of chemical plant that's tied in with the main character, who's this fund manager, which I'm not exactly sure what that job entails, but they imply throughout the movie that it involves essentially cutting costs, which is a really great metaphor, because this is a character who throughout the whole movie has to figure out who's expendable and who's not, and it, as a result, kind of comes across like a real monster. But you totally understand every decision he makes. But at the same time, he still has his daughter, who's the one thing that humanizes him above all else, and it's his daughter that centers him, that brings him back to reality, that brings him back to humanity. Because he could very easily have lost it entirely with this scenario, and in some parts he kind of does. And that's really the heart of the movie, even though there's a whole lot of other characters and a whole lot of other relationships that are important. Basically what I'm saying is, at the center of this movie is a story about a father and a daughter who finally connect in a time of just complete and utter chaos. Anyway, the point is, there's some sort of breakout at this chemical plant, and zombies start outbreaking everywhere throughout South Korea. And at first, like, the news treats it like it's a whole bunch of violent protests, but then it starts to get so bad you can't ignore it. Like, he starts seeing people get their faces eaten, and people are just getting ripped apart, and it's just chaos. And these are not slow zombies. These are 28 Days Later rage zombies, if I've ever seen any. But to a certain extent, they're almost like Return of the Living Dead zombies too, because they cannot be killed no matter what they fucking do. They just keep getting up and keep coming after you, or crawling after you, or whatever the fuck they got left. And holy shit, is it gory as fuck when they do. This is a gore fest, 100%, and yet it's got all this heart and all this emotion, and it's a beautiful fucking movie. It's so well-rounded. We don't make movies like this here in America anymore, and we used to, and I don't know what happened. So he's got a train trip to Busan, and his daughter wants to come along because his wife is in Busan, her mother, and she really wants to see her because she kind of hates her dad. Which she has every reason to, because this guy is a terrible father. He's good at providing, like, shelter and safety and all that, but he's not really good at the heart. He doesn't show up at her recitals, he doesn't get her presents on her birthday, and when he does, it's repeats of presents that he's already given her, and he's just so emotionally unavailable for his daughter, who's going through a lot because his mom and his dad have gotten divorced, and he acts like he doesn't even care. But he does care, in secret and in private, but not to her, and there's no way of her knowing that until he learns to open up to her. Which he does over the course of the movie, of course, because that's his arc. His arc is essentially regaining his humanity through his daughter in a time of crisis. But it's not the only arc, because her daughter also learns to, like, see what her father meant by, like, how sometimes you gotta make really awful, important decisions, and sometimes there is no happy ending. even though this movie technically does have a happy ending, though after a really fucking tragic as fuck finale. I really like how the bad guy in this movie is like the mirror image of the main character, how he's basically like, if the main character didn't have his daughter, this is basically who he would have become on this trip. But because his daughter's there, his daughter centers him and keeps him human, whereas the other guy basically becomes no different than one of the zombies. It's a really simple and obvious touch, but it works really well in the movie, and it really gets you invested when he and the bad guy face off at the end. And yeah, this is a zombie movie with a bad guy, make no mistake about it. Jesus Christ, my mind is all over the place because once again, I just saw a magnificent movie and holy shit, I have so many thoughts and I just want to say everything. I haven't even gone into the side characters. Like, for example, there is this kid who's on a baseball team and they're obviously on their way to like a baseball game, he and his team, and there's this girl who's stuck onto the train, but she really likes him, and he obviously he has commitment issues. So she's basically stuck onto the train to try to convince him that, no, I like you and you should be with me, but he's a little anxious about it. And these two obviously connect over the course of this train ride, fighting zombies and like trying to save one another from the zombie onslaught. And that was like this really weird but oddly romantic subplot involving these two teenage kids, and you really fucking get invested in it. Now sadly, like most teenage romance stories, it has a really tragic end, but the fact that I was crying when it happened showed how well they had developed it. And then of course there's the big guy and his pregnant wife and how like she's kind of mad at him. He has not decided on a name for their kid yet, and he's been a little lazy about it and been lax about it, but he obviously really cares about his wife and his kid, and he's just kind of scared about picking the wrong name. And then you have a point in the movie where she is trapped in one of the bathroom stalls, like in the back of the train, and they are in the middle of the train, and they have to go through onslaughts of zombies in order to save her. And oh my god, like this guy is straight up fist fighting zombies to get at his wife because that's how much she means to him. He's wrapped tape around his arm so they can't bite it, and he's just punching the shit out of them, and Jesus Christ, that guy was a man after my own fucking heart, and I fucking loved him. And he also has a tragic end, but it's really beautiful because when he has the tragic end, he turns to his wife as the zombies are about to encroach them and yells the name of their new daughter, and she just starts crying, and I was just like, oh my god, like, this is a zombie movie with like so much fucking humanity. They are not afraid to go for the full-on melodrama here, and it really works. And my god, some of the set pieces here put World War Z to shame. Because they do some of the things that World War Z tried to do, where the zombies are like flooding in like a rushing river tide. But here they do it with a mix of practical and digital effects, so you get a whole lot of real people rolling over each other and climbing on top of one another, and you can feel the realness of it, even though you can tell some of them are a little CG. But it doesn't feel 100% fake like it did in World War Z, to where you're just not buying any of the zombie apocalypse. None of the zombie apocalypse in that movie felt real, because it was all a digital effect. Whereas this movie, while it does have some really obvious digital effects at times, like the deer at the beginning, it's mixed in with some really good practical effects that are, holy crap, gnarly as shit, and super convincing. This is one of the best zombie movies of the last 10, maybe even 20 years. Like, if I were to make a top 10 zombie movie list, this would have to be on it, because Train to Busan is magnificent, and you all need to go see it, okay? What are you fucking still watching this for? Fucking like, comment, subscribe, and then go watch it, because Train to Busan is a fucking masterpiece. You know, it's up there with The Host, it's up there with Old Boy, I Saw the Devil, like other Korean awesome movies. Like, I continue to marvel at the talent coming out of Korea right now, because they are kicking all of our asses when it comes to cinema, as far as I'm concerned. So with that all said, peace out, my fellow gorehounds, and I'll catch y'all later.